everybody, welcome back to Eluda Racing. In today's episode we're going to be working on the project golf cart again, and if you watched my last episode you'll remember that I was talking about doing an upgrade to the radio, or actually installing a radio onto the cart. So here's the adapter plate and the radio that we're going to be installing onto the project. And I guess where we'll start off at is for the tools needed for this. As far as pulling this cover off, it's one bolt right here, which is a Torx bolt. It's a Torx T15, and we'll get this off, and then once I get this off I'm going to kind of go over everything with you. I'm going to do this video as if you haven't been watching my previous videos. If you haven't been watching my previous videos, please subscribe to the channel and go back and watch them, like on them, comment on them, and turn on your notifications, because I'm going to be working a lot on the cart. I also have a side-by-side that I'm working on, and I have my truck that I do a lot on. So I've got a lot of activity and a lot of plans planned for the channel. So this was just kind of a little intro for first-time viewers, long-time viewers, and old subscribers. Sorry for the short babbling, but I just wanted to ask people that have not subscribed to please subscribe to the channel and check back, because I'm going to be doing a lot of cool stuff, and I like doing a lot of product reviews. I like doing the projects, and just I really enjoy making the videos and doing it when I have the time, and it helps me out a lot if you guys subscribe, because then I can do more things with the more subscribers that I have. So now that we've done doing that, basically, like I said, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking off this panel, and we're going to be updating the golf cart and installing a radio. And as far as for tools needed to pull this off, you just simply need a Torx driver. Like I said, this is a T15 Your Cart. I've seen them in the past where this is a Phillips screw. I've also seen it where it's like an 8mm or 5/16 bolt. So it's kind of like different years and different carts use different fasteners. So on this particular application, on the Yamaha G29 or Drive 2, this takes a Torx T15. So once you pull this Torx out, go ahead and just set that stuff out of the way, and this will basically, because you are going to need that bolt for the new adapter. So this right here pulls right off, and that exposes your wiring, and then it also gives you your room to install your new assembly. Now what I've been doing on here, you're also going to need to run wiring back to your battery. So I'm kind of going off in different tangents here, and I don't mean to do that, but I'm trying to bring everybody that's watched previous videos up to speed and remind them what we had already done. And for first-time viewers, I'm going to kind of backtrack of what I've already completed on this cart. Now if you notice, I did do the voltage indicator, the battery charge indicator, and after I did that I went ahead and I ran a power harness for the radio, with knowing that I was planning on doing this. And as you can see here, basically what I have is I have my power wire, and it's clearly marked red for positive, black for negative. And then what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be installing a full-size car battery right here in between. That car battery is going to power the radio. It's going to power my headlights and taillights that I plan on installing, and any other accessories that I plan on using, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to pull voltage off of my battery bank for the cart itself. I want to have a separate battery, an isolated battery for all of my accessories, and that's just to keep them separate so it doesn't accelerate the discharging of the batteries. You know, you're out driving around all day and you got a radio going, lights on, whatever. It's going to kill your main batteries quicker. A lot quicker? No, but it is going to kill them a little bit quicker. So that's why I want to go with a separate battery. And then what I'm going to do, so I'm not having to constantly charge that with a charger, which you can, but what I'm going to be doing is mounting up on top of the roof. I'm going to be mounting a small solar panel on there, and it's just a small, I think it's like a 12 watt or something like that. I don't know, don't hold me to the specifications, but they sell them at Harbor Freight. They're less than $20, and that solar panel, even in a garage, when it's mounted and hooked up, it will produce power and charge that battery. It'll trickle charge that battery. So when you're out driving around in the sun, you're charging your battery. When you got it in your shed or your shop or your garage and the lights are on, you're charging that battery. You can maintain that battery. Now if you are heavy usage and you're depleting the charge of the battery a lot faster than that, obviously you're going to have to hook up a tender or something along those lines. But this is going to aid in the battery life and extend it quite a bit by putting that on there. I have one on my pontoon boat also, and it works great. I can sit out there all day long jamming the stereo, and it doesn't kill the battery. So $20, 25 bucks, Harbor Freight. You can probably get them online, eBay, Amazon, whatever. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and then that will be down the road further. So what we're going to do now is the first thing is, like I said, I've already ran my power from back to the battery tray up here. Here's my positive and my negative for the radio. We're going to hook that in, and then I've got to feed my speaker wires. I've drilled holes down here inside there. It's going to be hard to see them down there, but those were drainage holes, and what I did was I opened those up a little bit and extended those, oversized them, and I'm going to feed my speaker wire up through those on each side. So for today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to hook up the power wire. We're going to run those speaker wires to the appropriate sides, and then we're going to fasten this back down. Now I also have an antenna for this. The antenna, since I'm not planning on using a radio very much, I'm going to keep the antenna hidden down inside this compartment. I'm going to zip tie it to that frame right there, and I'm just going to leave it right there. I don't plan on listening to the radio. I plan on using Bluetooth with my iPhone or something along those lines. So the antenna is not really going to be needed, but in the event that I do want a radio, I want to have the antenna. So that's where we're going to hide that, and that's going to be hidden in there. That way we're not drilling any holes or putting it up on the roof or anything like that. So let's go ahead and start getting some stuff ready, and then we'll be right back. Alright, so as you can see, I've mounted the antenna. It's just mounted right there on the frame. I have it zip tied, and like I commented before, I trimmed all my zip ties off. Don't be one of those guys that leaves all that garbage on your zip ties. Attention to detail is key, and the reason I always preach that is because the neater you do an install, the easier it is down the road if you ever have problems. If I need to take this apart because the right speaker quits working, or the left speaker, or it loses power, I have everything nice and neat and tucked in here and organized, and it makes problem solving and troubleshooting that much easier to do. So a little bit of prevention goes a long, long way. So we keep that in mind when you guys are doing your upgrades. But anyway, we've got the radio right here, and like I said, this is a stubby style, so it's just going to have a little like a little 4-inch antenna nub that goes on there. I just haven't done that yet because I'm going to actually it's about a 12-inch antenna that I'm going to cut down to about a 4-inch nub, so I'm going to do that, and then when I'll just thread that on later. But so what we're going to do now is we're going to hook up the power, and we're going to feed the speaker wires to the appropriate sides. That way, once we make up our mounting brackets for the speakers, we'll be able to just plug and play and be ready to go. But I wanted to get the radio in and get it close because I have some brackets getting made up. I'm going to be actually using some black plastic like this, and I'm just going to go here, so it's going to look almost factory. It's weird, they do not sell any type of speaker block off plates right here. You can buy a whole dash You can buy this, and then you can mount speakers in the side, or you can put speakers in the little cup holes, or you can get a dash where these are become glove boxes, but they don't make a speaker overlay right here, or a cover. So I'm going to actually make that up myself. But anyway, so now let's go ahead and do our power. Like I said, we've got it marked red for positive, black for negative. I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down and let you watch. Hopefully that's coming through okay. And then I've got my speaker wires labeled on my connections, front left and front right. So like I said, I opened up those holes for the drains, and that's where I'm going to feed my wires through. Give me 1 second. Alright, so I got the wires rerouted here. I had to kind of free a hand up. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to come right through this hole. I just used a tapered bit or a unibit and opened it up. You could use whatever you have. That's just what I happen to have. I like them to come in handy, especially if you're drilling a lot of stuff. You're not having to change bits. So if you don't have one, when you go to Harbor Freight and you buy that solar panel, I would get a set of those. They, like I said, they're called a unibit or a tapered bit. They go through plastic, metal, wood. They come in handy when you do a lot of fabricating. And when you're feeding these wires through, with this being all open, those wires are right there. You probably can't see it with no light, but it's real easy to drop them down through that cubby hole and then just reach under and grab them. And then me, because I kept the hole on the small side, what you're going to have to do is start one and get it going, and then start the second connector, and then have that go through. And there you go. Make sure when you route that you're not wrapped around your shock or anything like that, because all that's exposed up front. And the last thing we have to do is hook up our antenna connection. I had that all coiled up. I didn't want a bunch of extra because, like I said, this is all open. If you have a lot of extra wires, this can start dragging on the ground or something like that, and you could end up damaging something. So you want to keep that excess to a minimum. Alright, so we got the antenna plugged in, we've got our speakers left and right hooked up, and we've got our power hooked up. Now if you were going to run an amp, that is normally hooked up to the blue wire, which stands for Power Connect. That would be your amp turn-on wire right there. So if you were going to be running an amplifier on your system or on your cart, that would be where you would hook up to there. Actually, you could hook it up to either one of these, because both of these are switched powers. When the radio's turned on, these get power. They don't get power all the time. So this is like a keyed power or a switched power that comes on when the radio is turned on. But now that we've got all that hooked up, like I said, the antenna is secured, all of our zip ties are cut off properly like they're supposed to be. Now we can go ahead and set this in place. We've got some tabs on the front right there, and then you can see the spots in the front of there. This drops down, and there you go. She sits down nice and smooth, nice and flush. Now Now this doesn't have those snaps on the side like the factory one does, but once you get that screw in there, this is going to sit down nice and flush. You could also, what I might end up doing is I might actually pull this back up, and I might get a little bit of that foam tape or a piece of something else, like maybe some Velcro, use the cloth side of a Velcro tape and put that down to create almost like a gasket effect, and that will help it from squeaking or moving around or whatever. So yeah, go ahead and get that in place. You're going to reuse your T15, your Torx screw. Now you don't want to over tighten this, you will crack it. This plastic is not as durable as the factory stuff. Now you can see that's nice and tight up there. And there you go. So now what I'm going to be doing is once I get the mounts on, or the plates, we'll be mounting these 4-inch speakers. And those will be kind of somewhat centered. And then this will all be kind of blocked off, but it'll be angled up and it'll be nice and sealed. The downside to doing this is you are losing the storage area right there, but the radio and all that it's worth it in my opinion. So next let's move on to the battery. Alright, so I went ahead and I pulled the seat off, and I got the battery in place, and what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to get a battery strap or a battery box. I haven't really decided yet. I'm kind of thinking I'll just go with the strap, and I'm going to strap the battery down, secure it properly, so when the cart's being driven, don't have to worry about anything as far as the battery moving around or sliding or falling off, because the way it's just sitting strictly for this video, but I'm going to secure it properly. So the battery is in place, it's hooked up. I did end up going with a lawn and garden battery simply because I don't have a lot of accessories on this cart. It's going to be strictly the radio and then the headlight and taillights, so I kind of was going back and forth, and I know I mentioned I was going to use a full-size car battery, but I think for my particular application I'll be fine with this battery. It's still large, it's a 12 volt 230 cranking amps. It's going to have a good amount of reserve capacity as far as for being able to listen to the radio and stuff like that, so I think I'll be fine. Worst case scenario is I'll upgrade and I'll go to a bigger battery, but for room and for weight I'm going with the lawn and garden. Now one thing I wanted to mention is, I know I said that I was doing this, but for you other people that are doing this and you're not worried about discharging your main batteries, another option you have rather than buying a battery and doing what I'm doing is you can pull off of your battery bank. And in order to get 12 volts on this particular cart, you would use the positive here and the negative there. By hooking up at these two spots, you are getting 12 volts. And that's basically, it goes through two of these batteries, and at different points you can get 8 volts, you can get 16, you can get 24. Depending on different spots, you can get different voltages. So to get a 12 volt tap would be positive here, negative here. Those two spots only. Don't go anywhere else, because you would get different voltages and you could cause damage to whatever it is you're trying to provide power for. So if you don't want to go with the battery, the auxiliary battery, like what I'm doing, you can go here and here on the Yamaha carts. That Easy Go and other brands, Club Car, it's going to be different locations. So this is strictly for the Yamaha cart, like this. Positive here, negative there, and that is a 12 volt tap right there. Now you can also see before we get off this, everything's zip tied, wires are nice and routed and neat and everything like that. And the radio is in place. We can go ahead and power it up just to show you that it's working. I like I said, this is a Kenwood Exelon. I'm a big fan of the Exelon stuff. And the speakers are just sitting there. I told you I'm going to make up those plates or mounting brackets to secure those properly. But I wanted to get this thing all hooked up and working so I can at least start to enjoy it until those are made. So yeah, I mean, sounds good, works good. This is a very simple install upgrade for someone that has a cart and wants to add some flair to it, or just simply wants to be able to have some music and stuff like that when you're driving around your property or your neighborhood. So on a difficulty scale or range, I would, 1 to 10, I would call this a 4. 5, it's really easy. So next on the agenda for the cart, we're not going to do it today, but next we are going to start doing the headlights and the tail lights. As you can see, I have used the stencil on the left side. It's still mounted on here, but essentially that's a stencil that the light kit provides. That's how you make your mark, and then you're going to have to cut that out. But that's what we're going to be moving on to next on the project. It's coming along nice, and I'm real excited. We're going to knock the light kit out. We're going to then move on to probably the lift kit, and then we'll be able to put those nice custom wheels and tires on. So like I said before, please like and subscribe, turn on your notifications. If you're watching the video and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot, and it makes the hard work worthwhile, knowing that people are subscribing and they're enjoying it. And if you have anything that you would like to see that I have not done, I'm always open to suggestions. So I enjoy the conversation with people that I watch the videos. I enjoy answering the questions and things like that. And if there's something that I haven't touched base on or something I haven't done, and you have even just a question, something totally unrelated, please feel free to contact me anytime. And that's what I'm here for. So until we meet again, or until my next video, take care out there, and like, subscribe, and talk to you soon.